7 things anxiously attached people. Wish you understood. If you're dating, living with, or even married to someone who has an anxious attachment style, you already know it can be intense, emotional, and sometimes confusing. There are really high highs and then sometimes really low lows. One moment, everything's amazing and affectionate, and the next you're confused by an emotional reaction that feels way bigger than the situation. You might wonder, why do they seem so afraid I'll leave? Or, why do they always need reassurance, even when I've given them no reason to worry? First of all, if you've had those thoughts, you're not alone. Relationships with anxiously attached people can feel overwhelming if you don't understand what's really going on underneath the surface. But once you do, it can change everything. Today we're going to explore 7 important truths you need to know if you're dating or in a relationship with someone who has anxious attachment. And trust me, this isn't about blaming, labeling, or diagnosing. It's about learning how to love someone with depth, clarity, and compassion while still keeping your own emotional balance. Number 1, reassurance isn't clinginess, it's safety. Let's start with one of the biggest misunderstandings. Reassurance. To someone with an anxious attachment style, reassurance isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. When they ask, "Do you still love me?" or "Are we okay?" it's not because they doubt you personally. It's because their inner world is often full of anxiety that they're about to lose what matters most: connection. Think about it like this. Imagine growing up in a house where the lights flickered on and off unpredictably. Sometimes you had warmth and light, sometimes you didn't. You'd probably grow up constantly checking the switch, even if the power's working today. That's what anxious attachers are doing emotionally. They're checking the switch, not because they don't trust you, but because their nervous system learned that connection can disappear without warning. What might feel like too much to you is, to them, a way of keeping emotional ground beneath their feet. So rather than brushing it off or teasing them for being too needy, try responding with calm clarity. "Yes, we're okay. I'm here. I love you." That one sentence, it can be everything. Number 2, space without communication feels like abandonment. Now here's where it gets tricky for a lot of couples. Many of us need time to cool off during a disagreement, right? We walk away, take some space, maybe go quiet for a bit to avoid making things worse. But if you're with someone who's anxiously attached, that silence doesn't feel calming. It feels terrifying. To them, space without communication doesn't mean "let's cool down." It means "I'm being left." Even a few hours of no contact can feel like the beginning of the end. That might sound dramatic to someone who's avoidantly attached or securely attached, but for anxious folks, it activates a survival response. The silence doesn't feel neutral, it feels like being dropped. And again, this isn't about immaturity, it's about trauma response. Their mind might spiral into worst-case scenarios. Did I push them away? Are they done with me? Did I ruin everything? So here's the solution. It's not about denying space. It's about how you frame that space. Something as simple as, "I need a little time to think, but I'm not leaving. I love you and we'll talk soon," can create a totally different experience. It tells them, you're not being abandoned. You're just in a pause. Number 3, they overthink because they care. Here's something you might notice. Your partner tends to replay conversations in their mind, sometimes obsessively. They analyze your tone, your wording, even your pauses. They might ask, "Were you mad when you said that?" Or, "Did I upset you earlier?" To some that seems exhausting, but to someone with anxious attachment, it's protective. Their brain is constantly working to avoid disconnection. So they review and re-review their actions like someone watching security footage, trying to catch any mistake that might have caused your withdrawal. They do this not because they want to annoy you, but because they care deeply. They want to be the best partner they can. They don't want to lose you, and their anxiety fills in blanks with fear when clarity is missing. Here's where you come in. When you clarify things quickly, when you say, "No, you didn't do anything wrong. I was just tired." You give them the truth their mind can't invent. You help them escape that cycle of doubt. Emotional validation isn't just comforting for them, it's healing. Number 4, their past isn't your fault, but it shows. Now let's talk about something crucial. If you're in a relationship with someone who's anxiously attached, you have to understand, you didn't create the wound, but you will see the scar. Most anxiously attached people grew up with inconsistent love. Sometimes their caregivers were present and affectionate, and other times they were emotionally distant or unpredictable. That inconsistency taught them, love can disappear at any time. So today, even if you're kind, supportive, and stable, they may still react to old fears. You might notice them panicking after small conflicts or clinging after a moment of tension. It's not because of you, it's their past trying to repeat itself. What's powerful, though, is that you can be part of their healing. When you respond to those moments not with shame, but with stability, when you say, "I'm not going anywhere," even when they expect you to, you begin to rewrite that old story. You show them that love can be safe, consistent, and unconditional. Number 5, distance isn't neutral, it feels like punishment. Let's talk about emotional distance. Maybe you think you're giving them breathing room or waiting for the right time to reconnect after a disagreement. But here's what anxious attachers often experience: silence as punishment. Even if you're not angry, pulling away, physically or emotionally, can feel like rejection to them. It creates a vacuum that their mind fills with fear. Did I go too far? Are they punishing me? Did I ruin everything? They're not trying to guilt trip you. They're trying to reconnect because they feel unsafe. The emotional space makes them question the very foundation of your relationship. This doesn't mean you should never take space. It means when you do, give a soft anchor. Say, "I care about you. I just need a few hours to think. We'll talk." That way they can regulate their emotions instead of being flooded by fear. Number 6, they're not trying to control you. They're trying to feel safe. A lot of anxiously attached people get mischaracterized as controlling. And yes, they might ask where you are, who you're with, when you'll be home. But this isn't about trying to dominate you, it's about trying to regulate themselves. Their emotional baseline might be panic when they feel out of touch. That check-in text they send isn't them tracking you, it's them reaching out for emotional grounding. Think of it like a ship in a storm throwing out an anchor. It's not to restrict you, it's to stay afloat. The key here is communication. If you feel smothered, say so, but don't assume their behavior is about control. Say something like, "I understand that you're anxious when I don't reply right away. Let's talk about a way to stay connected that works for both of us." Boundaries are healthy, but boundaries with compassion, that's powerful. That's how you grow together. Number 7, they're not broken. They're brave enough to love deeply. Here's the most important truth I want to leave you with. Anxiously attached people are not broken. In fact, many of them are some of the most emotionally courageous people you'll ever meet. They show up fully. They love with intensity. They're willing to feel, to talk, to grow. And while that can be overwhelming at times, it also means they care with every fiber of their being. Many of them are actively working on themselves, reading, going to therapy, journaling, learning to self-soothe. They're not asking you to fix them. They're asking you to see them, to love them in a way that helps their nervous system feel calm, not constantly on guard. The love of an anxiously attached person is deep, passionate, and loyal. They're not too much. They're just someone who never learned what consistent love feels like, until now maybe with you. If you've made it this far, thank you. Seriously, understanding your partner's emotional world is one of the most loving things you can do. And if you're the one with anxious attachment, send this to someone who needs to see it. Let it speak the words you might struggle to say. If this helped, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts or experiences, because the more we talk about this, the less alone anyone has to feel.